Hi friends, it's your pal Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons & Dragons, and we're going to talk about Daggerheart, and we're going to talk about understanding and applying Dungeons & Dragons and Daggerheart. All right, so let's jump right in. So for 50 years, we did Dungeons & Dragons wrong. We got so much wrong in the first 50 years. And for the first 5 weeks of Daggerheart, we've gotten so much wrong, so much wrong. And why is that? Well, it has to do with how we understand and how we apply, right? So for both of these tabletop role-playing experiences, people have understood them as play, and this is wrong, right? So Dungeons & Dragons was built as a human improvement engine by Gary Gygax secretly, and then delivered to humanity to make a powerful way for people to improve themselves at the table, and then to go beyond the table and improve the world through what they had learned at the table. Okay, that's my humble opinion. It's a unique vision of Dungeons and Dragons. And then Daggerheart, because Spencer Stark copied Gary's legacy, and because of the power of Critical Role, Daggerheart is the second human improvement engine, right? So these games don't function like any other tabletop role-playing game. They're tabletop role-playing experiences. And how we got this wrong for 50 years and for 5 weeks is we have done only a third of the processing. What do I mean by processing? Okay, so in order to understand a human improvement engine and to engage with in order to play a game, all you need to do is think. You don't need to do anything more than that, right? And the reason why is you have your mind, your heart, and your soul, okay? In order to play a game, you just have to engage your mind, right? And that's why it's fun, and that's why it's meaningless. Games don't mean anything. They're not useful, they're not powerful, they're not tools, right? Like Call of Duty is a useless pile of crap that no one should ever spend 5 minutes on, in my humble opinion, right? And the people who do get nothing in return. Like, you don't get any, like, no parents ever like, oh, my kid plays Call of Duty. They're ashamed of that, rightfully, right? And so, but Dungeons & Dragons is not the same, right? Like, parents are dragging their kids to Dungeons & Dragons, and the reason why is it's not a game, and they can tell that, right? They're like, this isn't a game. Like this, anything that's going to ensure that you have libraries and like that, changes the way you are as a person. Asks, are you good, neutral, or evil? Like, asks, moral questions. The parents know this is not a game, right? And this is why no parent in the world is dragging their kid to play Call of Duty. But you can bet there's a lot of parents today dragging their kids into playing D&D, right? All right. So if we're dealing with a human improvement engine and not a game, then we have to process it. Now, how do we process it? You could only process something of significance, something of value, something of impact, something of legacy. You could only process that with a 360-degree personal processing. So how do we accomplish 360-degree personal processing? By thinking. We do have to engage our mind, just like we would with a game, right? But that's only the start. That's only the first third. So we have to think our way through Dungeons & Dragons. But the next one is feel. We need to engage our heart. We need to feel our way through Dungeons & Dragons. How do I feel about Dungeons & Dragons? How do I feel through Dungeons & Dragons? How do I feel because of Dungeons & Dragons? How do I feel with Dungeons & Dragons? How do I feel without Dungeons & Dragons, right? How engaging our feelings and not just thinking through Dungeons & Dragons, but feeling through Dungeons & Dragons. Here's the last part, and wait for it. I'm sorry, this is going to upset you. I know it is. All right, here we go. Your spirit. You have to engage your spirit. You have to engage your mind, your heart, and your soul. You have to engage your mind, your heart, and your soul, okay? And you're like, wait a second, Scott, I'm an agnostic. I don't even have a soul. Yeah, you suck. Bye. Don't spend another second here. See you later, right? Like, yeah, you're right. You're a soulless, pile of bones that came up from a monkey. Who cares? Bye. Okay. Yeah, thanks. Have fun with OSE. Okay, whatever. Right? Like, you just play your game, right? You don't need to improve yourself, right? Like, no need for you to engage with a human improvement engine. I'm sure, like, yeah, whatever. Move on. All right. Wait a second, Scott. Yeah, maybe I do have a soul. So what do I do with it? Believe. You have to believe in Dungeons & Dragons. You have to believe in Daggerheart. You have to believe that they can fundamentally change you, that they can improve you, that they can transform you into something different, something beyond human, right? Manifold sentience, into someone who understands themselves and others. How few people, can you imagine? Like no one who plays Call of Duty understands themselves or anyone else, right? Like, hey, I'll slap another mag in, blah 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 blah, right? Like useless, right? Like useless on both ends of the joystick, right? Like it's just, yeah, useless game, useless user, right? It's not good, right? But when we come to Dungeons and Dragons and we're engaging with it as a human improvement engine, when we come to Daggerheart and we're engaging with it for what it was built for as a human improvement engine, we have to do 360-degree hyper-personal processing. We have to think through it. We have to feel through it. We have to believe through it, right? And at this point in this video, I'm not telling you what to think. I'm not telling you what to feel. I'm telling you, you need to engage all three of those experiences. And until you've done that, you know absolutely nothing about them, right? And that's where the most people are with Dungeons and Dragons and with Daggerheart. They don't have any concept or understanding of what they're actually dealing with. They think it's Candyland, right? And then all these things happen with Daggerheart and with Dungeons and Dragons that don't happen on any video game in the world or any board game in the world. And they're like, wait a second, what's going on? Why is this happening? Why has Dungeons and Dragons and Daggerheart infiltrated other intellectual properties, right? And they walk away stunned, and they should. These are different things, right? So in order to really experience and understand and apply Dungeons and Dragons and Daggerheart, we have to do all three. We have to think with our mind, we have to feel with our heart, and we have to believe with our soul. And when we've done all three of those, then we can actually do Dungeons and Dragons and actually do Daggerheart. This is where you arrive, right? And you're not useless on either end of the joystick, right? Where the game isn't useless and you're not useless, where both are useful, both are powerful, both are important and valuable. Every single word you just heard in this video is my humble opinion. Nothing more, nothing less. The important part is when I get to hear your humble opinion. When you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a fetch millennium.